So let's talk about the Kubernetes components. Tiexin, can you explain how Kubernetes fits together and the components that make up that?
In general, Kubernetes is made up of two parts. One is the control plane, which is the rectangular on the left side of the picture, yeah. And another part is worker node on the right side. So control plane, actually, it makes global decisions, I would say, for the cluster. For example, scheduling some tasks, right? So basically, the control plane detects and responds to cluster events. For example, when you spin up a new pod, there will be an event, and it's the control plane's duty to actually decide where to schedule the pod to run. To do that, control plane has actually multiple components. The very first and the most important one is Kube API Server, which is the one in the very center of the rectangular. Basically, it works as the front end to the Kubernetes cluster. Basically, it exposes the API, defines what you can do or how you interact with the cluster. And since this is a front end, actually, etcd is the storage or the backend part of it, which is a key value store, which stores all the information about the cluster. As aforementioned, we have some scheduling to do, and that is the job of Kube Scheduler. Basically, it will select a node for a pod to run on. We also have a bunch of controller managers. Actually, it's not just one controller manager, but multiple ones. Different controller managers are in charge of different things. For example, there is a node controller manager, which manages the node, as the name suggests, right? There is also an endpoint controller manager. Yeah. Last but not least, I want to mention the one on the upper right corner, which is the cloud controller manager. Because since we are all, well, not all, but many of us are running our clusters in a cloud provider, public cloud services. So we do have this cloud controller manager which interacts with our cloud. Basically, when you need a storage, when you need, for example, a load balancer, this is what the controller manager does. Yeah, that wraps up the control plane part. Then let's move to the right side, which is the worker node. Worker node, there can be multiple ones, of course, but there are some common components which are deployed on each node. For example, there is this kubelet, which works as an agent that runs the pod, right? To run the pod, you also have the container runtime, Docker, containerd, etc. We also need a kube proxy on each node, which works as a network proxy. It defines rules on each node so that the network traffic communication is allowed to the pods. There are maybe a few other components that is not in the picture. For example, we also have a cluster DNS, which is in charge of resolving the internal DNS records. Basically, that's it. Yeah.